Welcome to Roof It Up. This is a podcast about innovators, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and their stories about the course they took by Science Global.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on Roof It Up. Today on our podcast, we truly have what the books identify as a sales guru. When you talk about someone who has this extreme gift and power and ability to speak to individuals and lead them through a journey of actually completing a purchase without ever feeling like they're being sold to. A lot of people can't do that, but this man definitely can. I want to introduce you to Cina, which most of you probably already know. But Charlie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
All right, I am Charlie. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, we want to hear about you. Like, tell us about yourself.
Well, I always tell people, if you woke me up in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, what do you do?" 2 words. I guess my title would be sales professional, right? Although I'm an entrepreneur, solopreneur, sales professional and everything in between, I love sales. But what I found out is it's really not about selling. It's about presenting. It's about positioning. And when you can learn how to, present and position yourself, when you can learn how to brand and differentiate yourself, especially at the first point of contact, whether you're online or offline, but when somebody says, "Hi, how you doing? What's your name?" If you can come out and really in 10 seconds or less tell them who you are, what you do, and how you can help them, that's the game changer. That's the pre-frame. That's what makes people want to give you their attention. And then ultimately you can start a conversation that would ultimately convert in a new client. And then maybe that client even puts you on their kick-ass podcast and takes you out to the roofing industry and exposes you to their network of potential friends, clients, and advocates.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Charlie, we'll definitely talk about this, but One Tap Connect, this is how, shout out to Patrick Carr, who actually introduced Charlie and I at RoofCon this past year. And it was just a very I feel like it was a 5-second introduction. Like, here you go. Hi. And then from there, I'm telling you, Charlie I experienced the magic of what you just said. It's not selling. It is literally presenting, it's presenting them. And I don't know, it's incredible. We'll talk about that more. But Charlie, okay, first, Charlie, you're not just a sales professional. You're not bragging about yourself here. You are a renowned speaker. You have books. Tell us all about that as well.
Yeah, so, I've been in sales my entire life. My sales career started when I was about 10, 11 years old, Buffalo, New York.
Yes.
I had a paper route. It was the Buffalo Evening News. That was old school. You're going back to probably, God, I hate dating myself. 80, 80, 81, maybe even 79. At any rate, I'm 10, 11 years old, dragging my wagon through the snow, delivering papers. And, it was my job to knock on people's doors and say, "Hey, Thais, would you like the Buffalo Evening News? A week, cost X. And if you just want it so many days a week, it cost X." And some people would say yes, and some people would say no. And some people would look through their curtains and say, "Go away." Right. But I learned about rejection. I learned about, sales. I learned about persistence. I learned about certainty. I learned, a lot of different tactics and techniques, and I didn't know I was learning them. Mm-hmm. But what I did learn at an early age is the more doors I knocked, the more people that would ultimately say yes. And when I would go and collect the money every week, because this was old school, right? There was no internet. People weren't paying with credit cards or debit cards. You'd go and I'd say, "Thais, I'm collecting. It's $1.05 for the paper. It's $1.25 for the week. And, if you were lucky, the person gave you $2 or some once in a while, a guy would throw me $5 or a lady would throw me $5 and you'd think you hit the lottery." So I knew at an early age that the more you introduce, the more you produce.
Oh, that's good. The more you introduce, the more you produce. I love that. That needs to be totally something we hang on our wall.
Yeah, simple concept, but people don't do it.
Right.
The more you introduce, the more you produce. The more hands I shake, the more people that know my name, the more people I say, "Hi, what's your name?"
Right.
The more connections you make, the more conversations you start. So I didn't really realize it at the time. And the older I got and you start to reflect on life, I'm like, wow, what an entrepreneurial experience I had at a young age. And I didn't realize it. And then the paper distribution center for my neighborhood was the lady down the street. She lived like 5 doors down from me. So all the paper boys, there would be like 20 paper boys that would come to get their papers every day at 4:00 in this lady's driveway. Mm-hmm. And then if she had extra papers, I'd say, Mrs. Domino, can I get any extra papers that you have? So she'd give me the extra papers. Well, why did I want them? Because when I would get done with my paper route, Delaware Road was a traffic area. Yeah. And I'd stand with the papers, and hold them up. And the cars would drive by and I'd go like this. Well, every car that would drive by and look at me is not what you would call an impression.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
Right? It's an impression. So I'm going like this. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to get attention. Car would pull over. How much was the paper? $0.25. The guy would throw me $1.
Right.
Wow.
So
I just made, the paper cost $0.25. I got it for free. Yes. And I got 4 times the value of it and didn't have to pay for it. So sometimes I'd make an extra, $5, $6 a day. Not everybody gave me $1, but on some days everyone would give me $1 because they didn't have change.
Right.
So
that's so neat.
I just learned the art, I guess of the hustle, the art of the grind. And even as I sit there and talk to you, right, what am I doing? I'm getting attention. Here's the paper. I'm waving it in the air.
Yes.
And I just had to wait for enough cars to go by, because if 100 cars drove by, a certain percentage of those people were going to want my product. Does that make sense?
True. 100%. The more you introduce is like, again, the more impressions you make, the more you people are going to at one point say yes. Right. So but a lot of people are scared of introducing and then they're like, my sales aren't good. It's like, you're not making enough introductions. Right. So the more you introduce, the more you produce, the more impressions you make, the more outcome you get. So 100%, that makes total sense.
So let's just do this real quick because, I like bringing people value. Because right now, what's my job? My job is to get attention. Right? Mm-hmm. Why do I want to get attention? I want to get attention so people pay attention. I want your listeners to pay attention to this podcast right now, for you and for me. I need to bring Thais value and bring her listeners value. So I need to get attention so people pay attention. And then once people pay attention, I can get them to pay attention. Eventually, they'll pay me for my attention.
Fire! Drop the mic.
So again, simple concept, right? People go, oh my God, that's brilliant. Yeah, I guess it is. But people don't do the basics. And that's where it's all from. Kobe was great because Kobe Bryant did the basics. And I'm not a basketball fan whatsoever. I'm not a football fan whatsoever. And I know that might be blasphemy for a lot of your listeners, but I'd rather be on the field than watching the game.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right now, this new office, this is my stadium. Right.
Yeah.
And no matter which office I'm in, that's my stadium. And now, I have to play. Now, I would never do this ever on a podcast, but that's my most important asset right there. My daughter.
Sophia. Yes.
Sophia, you're live on a podcast right now, and I'm interrupting everybody for my daughter. Say hello.
Hi, Sophia. How are you?
Podcast.
She's in High Point University, North Carolina, studying to be a dermatologist.
Yes. Amazing. Congrats, Sophia. That's awesome.
So can Daddy call you back?
I'm sorry for interrupting. I'll let you guys get back to it.
I love you.
I love you.
Bye. So yeah, we talk.
I think you actually introduced us to Sophia. Sophia, not in person, but you showed us a video of her and how she's kicking butt at her university using One Tap Connect and introducing, college students to how they can do a better job connecting. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's my ambassador there. She helps me with a lot of social media and posting, and she uses the tool every day. She's meeting a lot of different entrepreneurs that come to the university, high-level players, CEOs of companies. She met the lady from Chick-fil-A that came to the school and spoke. So yeah, she's getting it done. But at any rate, yeah, getting attention is important. And then how do you start that conversation? And a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales professionals, as crazy as it sounds, don't know how to do it, and they think that they need to be a hardcore closer. Hard closing somebody, first of all, people take that as a very negative connotation.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't ready to step up to that. But if you can learn how to present and position yourself out of the gate, people will want what you have. And then you don't have to convince them that you have what they need. Just as you became my client, right?
Yeah.
You became a client. Yeah. We met at a conference. I showed you One Tap Connect. And you wanted what I have. I didn't have to hard close Thais and convince her that she needed One Tap Connect, right? But I coached you and I trained you at the first point of contact to where you said, this makes sense. I want it. You immediately, stepped up, and then you backed off and you said, well, wait a minute, let me hang on. I have some questions. And right, the buyer's red light went on, or the crocodile brain went on. And you said, is this the right thing? But then I went back in, and essentially trained you, consulted you, coached you more on how to use the product. And you said what?
I'm in. I need this. I'm like, let's do it.
Right. And that's what I teach and preach as a consultant, as a coach, as a mentor. That's what I teach and preach. And I walk the walk and talk the talk every day. And the tool in which you purchased, which was One Tap Connect, which is a prospecting tool that we can talk about when you're ready. But that's what the tool helps you do. It helps you brand position, differentiate yourself, start a conversation, so you can convert that conversation into a happy client.
So since we're on it, let's definitely touch base on One Tap Connect. So how did the idea to build One Tap Connect start? Like, what is the story? And if you're listening to this and you're like, what the heck is One Tap Connect? I'm going to really let Charlie share with what it is, because it's not anything I've seen in the market. So a lot of other companies are like, no. Like you hear about it, you see it, but this one, generally from all of the ones that I've seen none like this. So what's the journey of One Tap Connect? Like, what is its story? Like, how did you decide to move forward with this?
Yeah. So my journey and my story encompasses what I just told everybody, right? I've been boots on the ground, knocking doors my entire life. My dad taught me at an early age, and other members of my family, the art of common courtesy, the art of the introduction. Yes. You meet somebody, you make eye contact, you shake their hand, right? You dress to your audience. Yes. Okay. I mean, if you're a contractor, you don't need to wear a tuxedo every day, but you have a logoed shirt, look nice, look presentable, properly represent your brand. Right? This morning, knew I was going to be on your podcast. Okay. I know I'm talking to a lot of contractors, but I'm also a business person. So I'm not going to wear a t-shirt. That's just not who I am. So I took everything that I've learned throughout my life and put it into what I'll call a sales formula, and then made the tool of One Tap Connect around that formula. So when I met Thais, what did I do? I reached out my hand and said, hi, my name's Charlie. Now, again, there was an introduction, right? But at the end of the day, Patrick Carr, who I love, by the way, good friend, that's another story how I met him and how we built an incredible relationship. But that being said, he said, Charlie, this is Thais. Thais, this is Charlie. Well, I stuck out my hand and said, Thais, nice to meet you. What do you do? You told me what you did. You asked me what I did. Right? Now we start making, what's called small talk, but it's not small talk. It's large talk. Okay. It's really not small talk, because you've got 30 seconds to make an impression with somebody. Actually, less than that. First 10 seconds, you better make an impact. That 10 will get you another 20 to 30. And then if you're good and you master the art of presentation, you master the art of the introduction, you'll get 60, 90 seconds that can then turn in to 15, 20 minutes. And before you know it, you've got someone involved in the sales process with the best intention, I might add. Right? Did I have nothing but the best intention to do business with you and educate you on a product that I initially made for myself that turned into a company?
Yes, like 100%. I can't say this enough. Like I legitimately did not feel like you were selling me anything. Like I didn't. I truly, and that's you weren't selling it. I think that what you've created is so phenomenal that everyone needs to know about it because it will dramatically change your business. And it's like it's almost like you have the cure to, obviously not, but like you have a cure to something. You're going to tell everybody about it. And obviously some people will not take it. They won't believe you, but those who do, it's like, yeah, legitimately just bought me so much more business than I could have imagined if I didn't have it,
So here's the deal. What did we do? We introduced ourselves, right?
Yes.
I built rapport with you and I gained credibility.
Yes,
I identified
absolutely.
a problem. What was your problem or what was your objective? You had a booth. I know what it cost you for the booth. How many people did you have with you?
We had like
How many people?
Six people.
6. Did they eat while they were at the show for 4 days?
Oh yeah, we spent so much money. They all ate. We have to pay housing, all that stuff.
Right. So it's an expensive proposition. So here's the objective. As people were walking by your booth, I said I have a tool that could help you brand position and differentiate yourself. Explained it to you. So I introduced myself, built rapport, I gained credibility with you, identified a problem. You're at the show, they cost a ton of money. You need to get a return on investment. You said, yes, I do. What if I can show you a tool, Thais, where by just tapping somebody's phone, they can immediately download your mobile site, your micro app that will help you brand position, differentiate yourself, start a conversation at the booth, and by the time you get done, they'll want what you have. And you go, oh my gosh, I need this. Great. So now you identified their problem. You provided them a solution. Now the solution was you, but when you're talking to somebody for 2 minutes, talk is what?
Cheap.
You heard the expression? Yeah, talk is cheap, right? But the tool allows you to show your truth, authenticity, and proof, because now I can go to your LinkedIn, your Facebook, see pictures of your clients, see testimonials, see, big players that you're dealing with, their logos, their testimonies, their pictures, giving thumbs up, whatever. So the tool helps you brand position, differentiate yourself, build rapport, gain credibility, identify a problem, and then shows all your truth, authenticity, and proof. That can be done in 30 seconds or less to start a conversation. And before you know it, a person buys your product and again invites you to be on your podcast because you brought them what?
Value. So much value.
Right. And again, everyone says, oh, bring value. Like it's almost like everybody says that now, but very few people do it or know how to do it. And that's what I go in and teach people and companies and sales professionals how to do at the first point of contact. How do you bring that value and convert it at a high level?
Yeah. And I think you just hit it. Like talk is cheap, right? A lot of people, you meet someone, you're like, and you're like, okay, great. Now I'm going to have to, sounds good. But that one Tap Connect was like, hey, like one of the deals that we made, one of our new partners that we are working with, right? He was in a total rush. And I was like, this is what we do. He's like, I'm in a rush. I'm like, here's my info. 2 days later, I get a text from him. I look at the text and I had tapped my One Tap Connect. I'd sent him that info. And he's like, hey, I saw everything. I want to know more. So if I would have handed him just a plain business card, he would have lost it. He wouldn't have remembered me. And he totally would not have gone like, let me look up signsglobal.com. Like it was not going to happen.
Right.
So you eliminated a ton of barriers because now you eliminated one, having to carry, business cards, then having to pass them out, then people actually keeping them, looking for them. It's like you eliminated like 10 steps in the process. It's literally a boom, tap here, and they can see everything about you and they can see that you're not just talk. Like you really like you're legit, like you're a legit company, you're a legit individual, you have things backing up. And so it just solidifies more of who you are, and it absolutely elevates you from your competition. So brilliant. It's freaking brilliant.
It's like,
Yes.
how do you get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Well, it's all right here. There's who I am, what I do. There's a video on my company. There's testimonials
Right.
from my happy customers. There's my wife of 27 years. There's newscasts I've been on, stages I've spoken on, podcasts, people that I
Yeah.
work with or acquired as clients like Les Brown and Eric Thomas, right? Then
Yeah.
I immediately add you to contacts. I can connect with you, book an appointment with you on the spot. So everything that this tool has been built around my book, Expose and Close, where I just tell people my story of how I've acquired some high level clients in various industries, how I inked a $2.5 million deal when the Wynn Resort was being built here in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Again, I didn't know I had a system until I hired a mentor that said, dude, you have a freaking system.
I love mentors.
This is no joke. Like, and then how I figured that out was this young guy came to me one day. He shows up at my office and he said, I saw you do a YouTube video. This is like 2016. I gave somebody a testimonial. He goes, I saw you gave that person a testimonial and you said you work with John Taffer from Bar Rescue and you've worked with Tony Robbins and Les Brown and this person and that person. He said, I just wanted to come down and meet you. I said, well,
Amazing.
I said, well, brother, do you understand the move that you just made? He goes, no. I said, it's called the show up. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you just showed up. Right? I said, I only took this meeting. The guy just showed up and the receptionist comes in and she goes, there's somebody in the conference room wants to see you. His name's Andy. I'm like, I don't know no Andy. Well, here's his card. He said he saw you on YouTube. He just showed up. Now, he took a risk. He drove from LA. I could have dismissed him, but I respected the certainty and the hustle, and it's something I teach and preach, which is the show up. What is it? Show up. My name is, here's my power presentation. Let's do business. So I went out, shook the young man's hand, said, nice to meet you. He decides he's going to do a sales conference in LA. Les Brown, who is also my client, is somebody that he mentored under. Les was going to speak there. He said, would you speak? I said, well, dude, I'm not a speaker. What do you want me to speak on? He goes, I don't know. How'd you get Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and all these other high-end clients? I said, well, I just expose and close. And he said, oh, so you have like an expose and close marketing system? And I went, yeah, I do. And I went and bought exposeandclose.com, wrote the book. And then everything's kind of just evolved for me from there. So I still work with a lot of speakers and trainers. I represent a company called Lightspeed VT, where we help business owners create online training platforms for their sales teams. So I've done that for 10 years. So I coach and consult companies on how to create online trainings and then plug them into this incredible software so they can convert at a high level. I also work with a lot of speakers, trainers, and subject matter experts that say, I want to teach roofers how to have a more effective administrative department, operations, accounting, whatever, right? You turn that into an online course. Now people, buy your course worldwide. So that's been my background, but that's really how it all started. It just evolved. My passion for sales, my passion for connecting and shaking hands and really networking and teaching that art of the introduction and teaching that art of presentation is what I love to do.
And you're freaking good at it. I'm not even kidding. Like when I said you were like the guru of it, I'm like, not even joking, 100%. We need to get our hands on that book. So we will, if you're listening, we are on the bottom of this bio, we're going to add the link. Where can we get this book? Is this on Amazon? Like, where can we get the book if we want to purchase it?
The real kicker is I turned this in because of my background in online training. I've turned this into a course. If you go to exposeandclose.com, I have a whole online
exposeandclose.com.
course that is based around the book. In addition to, as part of that course, I include the design and delivery of a One Tap Connect card, right? Your One Tap Connect card and
Love it.
microsite. So we send you an executive package like this. You fill
Mm-hmm.
out a design form. We make your One Tap Connect mobile site and essentially give you all the training that goes with it so you can convert at a high level.
Okay, I love it. So definitely, if you're listening to this, we'll add all the information to the bottom so you can go directly and go and learn all the things, because the power of being able to show up, I think just like showing up, like you said, showing up is so powerful. People are so scared of it, but it's so it changes things. You just reminded me of a crazy story. Back in my corporate life, I had to take market share, and when I kept calling these clients that I wanted the potential to get in front of them, and they never would. Like, they would always reject me. So one day I was like, okay, am I Miami? I think they're Cuban, and I am going to show up to this, they're franchise owners. And I showed up to their office with pastries, Cuban pastries, and a catalog. And I knock on the door. The owner answers and is livid. He is pissed. He's like, hey, we've told you we don't have time for you. And I said, hey, I was just in town, AKA I live in West Palm Beach. I'm going to Miami. It's like an hour and a half away. I was like, I was just in the neighborhood. I just wanted to drop off some Cuban pastries for you. And I went to the best Cuban, Versailles, if you're Miami. And I was like, some pastries for you, and just wanted to say hi. And he literally looked at me. He says, pastries? I'm like, yeah, from Versailles. I'm not sure if you like them. I didn't even know if he was Cuban, but I was assuming because we're in Miami and a lot of the owners were. Anyways, long story short, he's like, thank you so much. Close the door. I was like, that is the worst ever experience in my life. Literally 10 minutes later, my phone rings and he goes, listen, you brought me my favorite pastries. We want to do business with you. I need to buy 4 pieces of equipment right now. And that day I closed a $98,000 sale. I showed up.
Listen,
that's the power of showing up. And yeah,
did you see what that
yeah.
What does it
It's a
say?
little blurry on my end. I'm sorry. Like, I can't see it
Send
for
a
some reason.
note, send a note, send a card, send a pizza.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
But again, simple concept, right? My dad always told me, you want to get to somebody's heart?
Their
Just
stomach.
feed them. Just feed
Absolutely.
them.
100%.
Right? So again, you came from a place of good intention, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. I got that wind job I told you about was 2.5 million.
Right.
I literally would bring pizzas, and it was a very large company that did marble and tile installation for the casinos.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Superior Marble and Tile. I'd just show up. The guy would kick me out. Literally, right?
Yeah.
No problem, Mr. Scolari. If you need me, let me know. What's he doing? Right? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. When he needed me, what got him was I then sent him a mail piece. I sent him a flyer with a handwritten scratch note on a Post-it and said, hey, man, if you need me, I'm Johnny on the spot, 911. He Johnny on the spotted me. I got to his office in literally 10 minutes, and it turned into a $2.5 million deal. Why? Because somebody dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He was angry because I was interrupting his day, but with a cold call or a show up or whatever, right? But when the other guy dropped the ball, who was top of mind? And that's what happened to you.
Yeah,
and
100%.
that's what happened to you. So that's the difference, right? There's always somebody in line to take what you have if you fall asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, yeah, so true.
That's the big difference. You weren't asleep at the wheel. You were hungry, and you came from a different perspective and said, "Hey, here's some Cuban pastries." And then he thought, "Wow!" Because when you're out there hustling and grinding, and you're going after a big fish, the big fish in most cases, will have a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of what?
Time. They don't
have a lot of right. They don't have a lot of time. Right? And everything during the course of their day becomes a pattern interruption.
Mm-hmm.
And the older I get and the more I have to do and the higher ranks I want to climb in business, I realize that. because the older you get, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The time frame goes like this. You're getting older, right? But the time's going like this. So that's what you have to identify. But a person that you're interrupting, right? They might say, get out of my office. But they're going to reflect on that and go, wait a minute. That person's hungry. That person could probably help me get, because balls are being dropped on the other side for them. And now you become this huge top of mind awareness individual that can probably help them solve a problem and take time out of the equation to help them reach their objective.
100%. And literally shout out to the Menendez family. They own over like 30 franchises in Florida. They became my biggest client, doing almost a quarter of, like, over $1 million per year, just working together. And it all started with showing up, dropping a pastry, and being on top of mind, like you said. So
do powerful. I have to send you pastries in order to get that introduction, to get them on One Tap Connect?
No, you don't. I will definitely connect you. No, they're awesome. They're awesome. Man, so good times. No, so powerful. Well, Charlie, okay, so we are going to wrap this up, but I could literally keep talking with you. We need to hopefully do this again.
No, come on. We're just getting started. You got me pumped up now. Let's make some cold calls. Let's go drop off some pastries. Let's put some deals together.
I'm all about it. It's like such an adrenaline, right? If you're like the passion of sales and like, business, I like get such an adrenaline with business. I love it. What are the social skills needed to build a perfect pitch? Is there a social skill that you need, or what is your thought on that?
It's not a matter of social skill. Everything I'm telling you about, everything I go out and teach and preach, or when companies bring me in to help their sales teams, this is transferable. It doesn't require skill or talent. However, it does require the willingness of wanting to do it, right? You have to want to do it. You have to have the discipline to do it, and you have to make the commitment to do it. What is it? Okay, let's go out and shake one hand a day, 5 days a week, right? Five new hands a week times 4.33 weeks in a month, right? 7 days in a week, there's 4.33 weeks in a month. Do the math. Let's just round it easy. 5 times 50 is 250. Let's call it 270 new opportunities, no matter what business you're in. If you just went out and shook a hand, you're at your kid's ball game, you're at a dry cleaner, what do? But then you have your power presentation to pique people's interest. Do you understand? Like, people say, oh, I'm an insurance guy. No, you're not an insurance man or you're an insurance woman. I would never say that. I would say I empower people just like you to protect their families and most precious assets, guaranteed, and save them money in the process.
So powerful. Such a total difference in presenting yourself.
Because if you say I sell insurance, people will go, I already have an insurance man, or I use Geico.
Yeah.
But now if I say that to you, say, wait a minute, how do you do that? Well, I'm in the insurance industry, right? And now you tell about your product, why it's different, and the service you provide to your client, how you're going to come in and do an analysis and make sure they have not only the best price, but essentially the best coverage. Because if something was to happen to you, Thais, are you concerned about price at that point, or do you want to make sure that you have the best coverage so you can get your life and your family back if you were devastated by a storm disaster, for example?
Right.
Yeah. Are you really worried about price? So let's not think short term when this is your life. So it becomes a whole way to connect the dots. And anyway, that starts at home, but there's 270 opportunities. So here's the answer to your question. The pitch doesn't come first. I like to call it a presentation. What comes first is your mindset, right? That's number one. Then what's the mission? And then what moves do you have to learn to make? That's the key. So when you have the commitment and the discipline, when you're coachable, I'll leave you with this. I call it the 5 C's. You need to be coachable. and you need to have a coach. You
Yes.
can't see yourself. If you're in the bottle, you can't see the outside label. You
Right.
with me? You're in the
Absolutely.
bottle. The
Absolutely.
old school cameras, there was no selfies. If you were
Yeah.
taking a picture, you're in the frame, therefore you can't see the shot. So you need a coach, and you need to be coachable.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to be consistent. You need a coach, and you need to be consistent. You need to follow their lead, and you need to do the daily activities that you're supposed to do to feed your mind, your body, your spirit, and implement some of the action steps that you're being taught. Hi, what's your name? Learn. You understand? Simple things. So you need to be coachable. You need to be consistent. When you're coachable and consistent, you start to develop confidence. You'll get the win, right?
Yes.
You started using One Tap Connect at the show, you got to win.
Right.
That means your belief level in you and your belief level in this product is going to make sure that all your people are using it, and you're going to teach them how to, what you said. Right now it's infectious. Now it's a positive infection, right, within your company that's getting you results. So when you're coachable, when you're consistent, you get confidence. Then you start to get the wins. You start to become certain. And that's what you're selling. You told me I want One Tap Connect for my team. We went to sit down at a table, and then you started to backpedal on me. Did you or did you not?
100%. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do it. The show's starting tomorrow, or whatever. It's $1,500,
Yeah.
right? No,
Yeah.
no problem, Thais. If you're not sure, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, if I was at a show, how I would implement that tool, and I just started consulting you, and I was confident, and I had certainty in my product.
Right.
Do you understand? So
Yes,
as
absolutely.
you allowed me to sit there and coach you, right, with consistency in my message from the first time I met you, you became confident, you became certain. And now when you said, great, Charlie, charge my card for $1,495, I'm in. Okay.
Yes.
You were in control. You knew you made a good decision, and I was in control of the transaction because I knew I gave you every single piece of information in order to properly coach you. So as soon as you went out in the world and started using this tool, you got what?
I literally got so confident and it worked and I got sales. It was all the good stuff
You got the result.
of 100%.
So that's the key. The answer to your question, and we took a long road, but I want people to understand something. It's transferable.
Right.
It doesn't require talent. It just requires the commitment, right? Some tenacity, some discipline and hard work to implement those 5 C's, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah, I love that because a lot of people are like, nah, I'm not good at, sales because I'm an introvert or it's just not my thing. And you just kind of said it like it doesn't really come down to personality. Yes, maybe an extrovert tends to lean more towards sales and people, okay, but it doesn't mean that they're good at it, right? It's like this is something that if you follow the formula, like you said, you're coachable, you're consistent, you apply it, you actually do it. That's how you get results. It's the formula, right? And the formula works 100%. It works 100% of the time if you follow it, right? And I like, you just got to follow it and do it. And I think that's where people kind of, they don't have the willingness to do it. And I always say this, they say billionaires give 99% of all of the things that they know away, like all of their tricks, all that stuff. And they do it because they know that only 1% of the population even listening to them will even implement it. So because a lot like this mentality that I can't share everything because people are going to take my idea. It's like, no, like literally maybe 1% will even implement what you're saying. And it gives you such a better life because you're like, when you get this thing done, it builds confidence. And then you have confidence in so many other areas of your life as a parent, as a spouse, as, in the industry you're in, it just changes your mindset. So it all intertwines. I love it.
No question. And here's what people really need to understand. You spent $1,495 with me. which isn't a trainload of
Mhm.
money. But whether it's $14.95, $149, $14.95, or $14,995, and I don't say this
Right.
like to be corny or, say it as a false statement. It's not the money. The money's short term. The
Right.
relationship between me and Thais right now, I never expected to be on your podcast. Did I ask to be on your podcast?
No, you did not.
I didn't even know you
No.
had a I didn't even know you had a podcast, right? But you called me and said, "Hey, now again, I don't know if there's one person listening. Did I ask you how many people were listening or how many viewers you had?"
No, you didn't.
No, I don't care because I like you and we have a relationship. Do you
Yes.
understand? So I'm just coming from a place of good intention, right?
Yeah.
You're my client, and fortunately for me, not for you, for me, I like my clients. I want to have a client, okay? I want to make them an advocate, and I'll leave your
Yes.
audience with this. And then I want you to be my friend.
Yeah.
Do you
Absolutely.
understand? That's the goal. I want you as a client. I want you
Mhm.
as an advocate of my products and services. And
Right.
then I want Thais as my friend. Why?
Yes.
Because if you're my friend, you're going to bring me more business regardless. I'm going to bring you more business regardless. And if I fall short or I make
Mhm.
a mistake, you'll probably give me the benefit of the doubt to say, "Hey, Charlie, you kind of dropped the ball there. Could you make it right one friend to another?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, I don't make it a habit of dropping balls, but my point is, do you understand? That's the
Absolutely.
key. So I want to leave your audience with that. When you can say hello and you could brand position and differentiate yourself, and you take people through a sales process and you deliver above and beyond,
Mhm.
right? The value is when they spent money with you and they got above and beyond whatever money they spent tenfold.
Right.
That's the key. And now they went from a client to an advocate, and now you've made them a friend. Some people say, "I don't make my clients my friends." Okay, I do, and
Yeah.
that's how I left the business.
Yeah, no, I love it. And again, it goes back to relationships, like you said. When you, like you said, if there's a moment where the ball drops, when you have a relationship with someone, you can have that very transparent communication. It's no longer just a transaction. You can be very on, "Hey, I'm not really happy with this. Can you help me here?" "Absolutely, I'll take care of you." Instead of like, "I'm not happy, I'm out." Like you have no like relationship whatsoever. So it's really nice to have that. And I'm really glad that we met. I'm glad that we get to call each other friends now. And yeah, Charlie, we are super thankful for you to take time to be on our podcast. And can you let the audience know? I know you've already shared where to go for your book, but where can they go to find you? Let's say they want a coach, they want to be in coaching, or where can they go to get a hold of you? Where can we direct them to go to? Go ahead and give that shout out before
I mean,
we
my,
end.
my, my main website for my coaching, speaking and consulting is charliecina.com. Charlie
Mm-hmm.
with an IE. Cina is the last name. You go to any of my other websites, exposeandclose.com. That's my online training portal. It'll take you to me. OneTapConnect.com will sure take you to me as well. So if I could help anyone in your audience in any way, shape, or form, I'm here for you. I love selling. I love your passion. And I truly mean this. Thanks for having me on the podcast. This was awesome.
Our pleasure. Well, thanks everyone for listening to Roof It Up. And Charlie, we can't thank you enough. And all right, everyone, see you later.